joining us. I've been lucky enough to live in a community that cares about its neighbors. And a big part of that, especially at the holiday season, is the annual Project Feed the Thousands food drive. And with us today to discuss this year's food drive is Lucy Fortier, the director of the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center, Kelly Corbeil, the co-chair of Project Feed the Thousands, and in fact my boss at WTSA Radio. And to her left is Mark Spino, the principal of Green Street School in Brattleboro. Thank you all, and certainly thank you for all that you do to help the hungry, not just during the holiday season, but year-round. So this is year 20?
Yes.
Oh my. How did we get here? Give me a couple of ideas about how this all got together and how it's grown over that time.
Well, I believe it started to help the drop-in center because the food shelf was always very bare at this time of year. And over the years, it has increased tremendously. I know that last year we gave out over 25,000 bags of groceries all year long at the drop-in center.
That is incredible. And as I remember, the first year this started, it was Project Feed the Thousand. And now it's Project Feed the Thousands. How has just the need for feeding hungry people changed over the time?
Well, you know, I look back at the drop-in center, and I think the first year it was in operation, they gave out 43 bags of groceries in that first year. And when you say that we're giving out almost 25,000 bags now is really speaking volumes of what our community needs are right now.
That is really scary. Why is this happening? And give me just kind of an idea of who you are serving and who other food shelves in the region are serving as well.
We're basically serving a lot of the low-income families that are working. Your working poor families. A lot of our clients do have two jobs. They work at either McDonald's and Burger King, or they work at Walmart and maybe McDonald's, but they do not have the income levels to support themselves. The recent survey that the food bank did is 1 in 4 people use food shelves on a weekly basis to feed their families. So that's way down from 1 in 7 3 years ago. So we're really not going in the right direction when it comes to helping our neighbors get over the hunger issue.
So a combination of low income at a high cost of living. And the numbers you describe almost makes it sound like there are less and less people available to donate with more people in need.
It really is true. Donations have been down considerably, and I think most food shelves will say the same thing, that their donations are way down compared to previous years.
So that's where Project Feed the Thousands comes in. Now, Kelly Corbeil, thank you for really stepping up and being part of the campaign, and also being co-chair at a time when the two founders of this effort, George Haynes and Larry Smith, chose to retire and step away, as we all do after a while. But what has been your involvement over the past few years, and what are some of the things that you've been involved with already leading up to this year's campaign?
Yeah, a few years ago, Larry and George asked me to get involved, which I did. And throughout that time, we've done some new things and continued with some old. So one of the new things that we've been doing is what we call a business blitz. And we actually just went out today, which is the day before our kickoff, and we visited about 100 businesses in the area and asked all of them to contribute in some way, whatever way they want, to Project Feed the Thousands. So that's one thing we're doing. We also have more fully involved the school systems. So most all the schools in the area are now involved, and that was in big part to Mark Spino. And we still do a letter appeal. We try to get things in all medias. We run commercials, anything we can do to get the word out over these 2 months, last 2 months of the year, and we all just try to pitch in and get as many people involved as we can.
Well, how did that business blitz work out, and are there people you'd like to thank?
Yes. Tim O'Connor is the head of the Business Blitz now. So we'd like to give a big thanks to Tim O'Connor, who helps organize it and gets all the lists together for everyone to go out and blitz. Some of the businesses I just want to already appreciate, even though we're kicking off tomorrow, that have already committed for this year are CNS is committed to donating some food this year, which is they are our biggest food donators. Vermont Yankee has committed to give us a cash donation. We don't know the dollar amount yet, but we hope to find out soon. Leader Distribution, Pepsi, is donating a lot of product this year. And another big one is Hannaford's, who's already started, and they're selling boxes of food. And Lucy's been lucky enough to already receive a whole lot. And they're just a big, big supporter of our campaign.
It's good that everybody gets on board with an effort like this, because the only way to succeed is to have everybody be involved. Not one or not two people can do it by themselves. It has to be everybody, because the problem is community-wide.
Exactly. And that's a good point. Like when we go out to the businesses, I mean, we're asking the businesses in any way, shape, or form, whether, they want to give a small $5 donation, or they want to have all the employees do something, or they want to do something trying to get their customers involved. However, we don't care. We just, even if it's just hang a poster, so it's making awareness, anything at all. And that's just businesses. And then individuals themselves, in this area every single year seem to step up to the plate. So we hope that happens again this year.
Mark Spino, applause in your area, because not only are you one of those local boys made good that we all hear those sorts of stories about, but you're involved with passing on the gift of caring about people that you may not even ever meet. And that is one of the most important things that our children can learn. How has that been with you, particularly because in your role as a school principal, you see young people that are hungry every day?
We absolutely do, and we have many families who benefit from the drop-in center and the food bank on a daily basis. But there's nothing more powerful than watching children learn about something, take an initiative, and then want to make a difference. And my experience with Project Feed the Thousands is that it's been a terrific committee and food drive to educate our children about certain aspects of their community and where they live.
Teaching them about the fact that there are hungry people and the need to volunteer their time and their funds where they can.
And no matter how old they are, they can make a difference. Their voices are very powerful. And whether it's donating a can of corn, or whether it's getting on the radio with you and sharing what they've learned about and doing some research about Brattleboro and the greater Brattleboro area. But they have powerful voices as well. And no matter what age you are, you can make a difference and you can contribute to your community.
So a lot of area schools are involved. In what form is their involvement? What are some of the things that they do over this 2-month span?
So a lot of this time period is based on education. So getting teaching the children about what Project Feed is, how it came about, and why it is so needed. So student leadership groups at different school sites will do that type of research, and then they'll do presentations to the greater school communities. And then that work will lead to some food drives at each of the school sites. And the hope, our goal at Green Street School is to raise 1,000 pounds of food by the end of the food drive. And I know different schools have different goals. But over the past 5 years, it has become quite a collaboration between the area schools. With the Career Center, the final day will come around in their trucks and they'll pick up the food and they'll talk to the kids and thank them for the work that they've done. So from the high school to the elementary schools, it's really been nice to see how it's evolved.
And certainly as you grow older, there's a math and economics component to this. There has been over the years an effort to tie that into some of the math classes. Lucy, I want to ask you, explain what the Vermont 3 Squares program is, who gets it, and what is the average benefit?
3 Squares used to be known as food stamps, and right now there are seniors, there are families, there's even individuals who get 3 Squares. we're really trying to help our seniors more, because seniors don't realize that their co-pays to a doctor's office or to the pharmacy for their prescriptions are all deductible, so their income could be raised. Some of our seniors were only seeing like $20 a month on their food stamp card, where now we're hoping that they're going to see a lot more with all these co-pays that are able to be applied. An average family receives anywhere between about $40 to $45 a week for groceries. And when you've got teenagers, that's not a whole lot of money, because last year I took $45 and went to Hannaford's, and it took me 45 minutes to shop because I was trying to get the biggest bang for my dollar. And I was surprised that I walked out of there with so much carbs and starch stuff, because I couldn't afford to go down the fruit aisle or the dairy products or even the meat aisle. So we talk about obesity in our children, and that's one of the reasons. If you're a low-income family, you're being fed a lot of carbs, because that's the way to stretch your dollar and stretch your three squares money.
So if, say, a high school student were to be given an assignment, tell me what you can buy on a $45 allotment per week. That would be an eye-opener to everybody.
I think it would, because what I did is I took a mom and dad and 2 children. So I was looking for snack items besides meals and breakfast. And I said, well, the children are probably qualified for free breakfast and free lunches at school, but that's Monday through Friday, so you still had the weekends to contend with. Mom and dad have to have breakfast because they're home. I mean, they're at home in the morning, and lunch for mom and dad. So it really was a struggle to come up with enough stuff that would really prepare meals for the whole week.
And of course, when you eat a high carb diet, you deal with things like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and that all goes back into our spiraling healthcare costs.
That really does. This year at the Drop-In Center, we started a program with Vermont Fresh and the Food Bank, where we are promoting healthy eating. And we just finished a cooking class where they learned how to make healthy meals from scratch, things that they could get at the Drop-In Center. And at the end of the 6 weeks, they were given a crock pot with a recipe book, and they learned how to make oatmeal in the crock pot. They learned how to make applesauce, a breakfast bake that they could start the night before and let it slow cook all night long. So there are ways that we're teaching families that they can stretch their dollar and still make things from scratch, and it's a lot healthier for them.
So really, there are ways of helping, but still, people aren't really walking in off the street with bags of fruit and vegetables, or are they?
No, they're not, but the Drop-In Center is pushing those things. We have a display in our lobby that it's nice now to see folks come in every day to see what we have that's new out there. Whether it's vegetables or it's fruit. We always have bread, we always have rice. There are staples that people can come in and pick up on a daily basis without having to go through the food shelf.
So let's change gears in that area. What kinds of donations are you looking for this year's Project Feed the Thousands drive? I know that the holidays are coming up and people think, well, gosh, you want something for the holiday table, but that's only a start.
That is only a start. Our standard cranberry sauce stuffing mix, but also we're looking for low salt vegetables, sugar-free fruit, because we have shut-ins that we deliver to that have diabetes or they have high blood pressure, and the nutritionist at BMH has asked us to make sure that we give them what is appropriate for their diets. So we've been working closely with the hospital on folks who have issues with their health to try to, maintain that proper diet for them. And
as you say, a lot of it is education, because, sometimes you may go to a farmer's market and see kale or kohlrabi. See, I can't even pronounce it, much less know how to cook it.
Well, it's funny because we did kale chips this year as a taste testing at the Drop-In Center, and I was surprised at how many people tried it, and the kale went off our shelves. We did the same thing with rutabagas. We did fries, baked fries, and that night when we left, there was no more rutabagas left on our food shelf. So it's amazing how when you try things and you cook them in a way that folks will like, they really do take them home and try them with their families.
And how much of that really goes back to when you're kids and you just get used to certain things and you don't have the chance to try something new?
Well, I think that's the thing is that a lot of the adults that were coming in and trying these taste testings had never had them before, so now they're trying them in a different way. I mean, we all think of carrots as boiling them. They sauteed them in butter one day, and they were wonderful. Everybody went home with bunches of carrots to try it at home. So it's just a little bit of knowing how to cook them and prepare them differently.
And with the education idea in mind, Mark, what's done at the school level to try to give kids an idea of there's a whole big world of food out there, you should try it?
Well, it's funny you say that, Lucy, because just this past week we did a taste test at Green Street School with kale, and we had, I think it was 96% participation within the school. And the students at our school sing this morning did a presentation about that. So majority of the kids tried the kale. Of that majority, a majority of them liked it, and there certainly were some that didn't like it but would try it again in the future. So each month we actually do different taste tests through produce from local farms.
And that's a good reminder as well. I mean, it's kind of a back to the future sort of thing, knowing that your food comes from the couple down the street who may raise vegetables, or the eggs may come from a neighbor, or the beef in your freezer may come from the farmer down the road. How does that help the overall picture of keeping what we do doable for all of the area, making sure that people have affordable food budgets and they're getting good quality food?
That's what we all are trying to do. And the food bank has been really good this year with having a wide variety of locally fresh produce. Harlow has been a big giver to the food bank and also to all the various food shelves in the area. We and also too, we've started a program with other food shelves where we freeze a lot of our vegetables, and we're handing out those vegetables this winter. So when you don't have fresh vegetables in the middle of the winter, you've got frozen things that we all froze this summer. That is almost like having corn on the cob, but it's off the cob and it's frozen.
Yeah, really a lot of the basics of food preservation that my parents used to do during the growing season, you don't see as much anymore, and that would help as well.
It really would. I myself do not do all the canning I used to do when the kids were growing up. And I'm sure that there's a lot more families that are like me, that as you age, you say, oh, that's a chore to do on a weekend. But we're really trying to recreate it with some of our families who have small children at home.
You know, it's important to mention that this effort is bigger than just one food shelf. Food shelves, let's see, Guilford, Putney, the Townsend area food shelf, Deerfield Valley food shelf, Our Place in Bellows Falls, Chester Andover Family Center, and of course the friends at the Hinsdale Welfare Department, which run their food shelf. I mean, if you look at it, food is a problem everywhere, and it's good to see that this is spread out, the Project Feed the Thousands effort.
It really has. And a lot of these food shelves all work together throughout the year. We help each other out. If I have lots of bread, I will call around and say, hey, does anybody need bread? Or if a couple weeks ago, somebody had turnips that were delivered to them, and they had tons of them. So she called, sent out an email and say, hey, if anybody wants them, come pick them up. So we, as food shelves, we really are helping each other when somebody has a huge demand that comes in, and so having all of us in the year and working together makes a big difference.
I can't remember the last time I had a turnip.
They've been popular this winter or this fall.
Well, the root vegetables are always good, and they last right into the fall months.
Right.
So we've talked about the basic needs. Fact is, we need people to contribute in any number of ways. Our cash, foodstuffs, so what do you need more?
I think it's a combination. I really do. The cash helps us because our buying power is a little bit better at the food bank than if people tried to buy for us. And also, too, we know what our clients can use. We just recently did a survey at the drop-in center to find out what folks have at home to cook with, whether they have a range top, a stove. And I was surprised to find that some folks only have a hot plate that they're cooking with or just a microwave. So having that information makes it easier for me to buy foods that's appropriate for all of our clients and not just a few.
And I trust that, as in past years, there are donation areas that you'd like people to go to and make their donations.
Yes, there's quite a few. I'm not sure all of them, but I think all the grocery stores in town, the banks, they all participate in this.
In River Valley Credit Union, all their locations, you will take cash donations and food donations, as well as Brattleboro Savings and Loan for sure. Brattleboro Food Co-op, by the way, has a kickoff tomorrow, and WYRY will be there in the afternoon. Price Chopper's involved, and they have a kickoff tomorrow morning with you and Ian. So they are a drop-off location. Hannaford's is definitely a drop-off location. And a lot of the area, gas stations have cash buckets. So if anyone wants to drop a check or, change or pennies or anything, that they could use it.
And local schools as well.
Oh, right. And all the schools, pretty much all the schools in the area. Yep.
And I want to brag about something that the town of Brattleboro employees do every year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a town where you look at the newspaper articles, you hear the radio stories about budget issues. You have a group of really caring people. They have been doing a holiday breakfast for a number of years, and they're doing it again this year, although they have not set the date as yet. They turn it into a food drive. Their employees compete with one another to see who can bring in the most food donations. And certainly if you have a office or holiday party, even at your home, this will be a great way to help some people and get involved with Project Feed the Thousands at the holiday season.
Will you be at the breakfast?
Of course. I hear them serving breakfast there. But no, it's a great effort that everybody is doing, and just, again, proud to be involved in a small part of it. Major things to remember is you should make a contribution where you shop, either cash, food. Now, the other things to remember is cash donations can be sent in care of River Valley Credit Union. And, of course, if you want to know more, go online, projectfeedthethousands.org.
Or feedthethousands.org.
Feedthethousands.org.
Yes.
Okay. You see, there is a margin for error. But seriously, you all have gotten involved for various reasons. And I just want to mention that over the years in doing this campaign, it has been an emotional high. Just to mention that one day they had given us a call from the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center and said, "We're out of turkeys. What can your listeners do?" We made a couple of mentions, and within a half an hour, 30 turkeys had been delivered to the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center. And somebody I had never met before and have never met since walked into the radio station, wrote a check for $100, and walked out. I mean, this is the power of the community that we live in, and this is something that we've got to keep going, because as long as there are people in need, we should be able to handle it, because these things should be handled locally and not in Montpelier or in Washington, where they're going to screw it up. So, let's see, feedthethousands.org?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Correct.
And so you're going to see members of this team out in various fundraisers over the next couple of months. So please make a contribution and think of your fellow human being, because the line is so darn small. You either are in need of help, and if you're not, you should be helping out others.
Right.
Well, thank you for all that you do, Lucy Fortier, Kelly Corbeil, and Mark Spino.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And again, the annual Project Feed the Thousands food drive is here. I know this has been said a number of times during this program, but gosh, as someone who's been there, and I think we all have been there in our own way, what you're doing is going to help someone be part of the future. And our future is only as good as our present is now. So best thing that you can do is help out others. This is Tim Johnson. Thank you for watching, and please give what you can.